Hey everybody, it's June 23rd, 2024. I'm, of course, Connor McIver, otherwise known as Connor with Honor. I do have Santa Clarita OpenHouses.com, and that is going to be your entry point to looking at everything Santa Clarita, all the real estate, what's actually for sale, what houses are going to be held open in the very near future. You'll see all of the real estate data there, and I made sure that I kept that site unlocked so you would be able to see every single listing without being concerned about giving up your personal and private information. There's a lot of systems out there that are going to be asking for you to give up who you are. Just be wary with that. Understand that local resources, in a lot of cases, are better. They're pulling on the actual data directly from the multiple listing service. And of course, because we are local, that reach is a little bit more pronounced than it is when you're some large syndication site located somewhere else. So definitely Santa Clarita OpenHouses.com is the place you want to be. Let's talk about this real estate listings, what's happening in the market currently. 426 current active listings. These are going to between coming soon. So it's coming soon and also active listings. These are properties that are for sale. In the coming soon variety, out of that 426, we have 15. New listings, 68. We had 64 properties have their prices changed. 20 properties have gone back on the market. This means these houses did not close escrow. They were in escrow and then something happened. What happened? Who knows? Lots of different variables. If I have an active buyer seeking out listings that fit that criteria, you know definitely that's a question I'm going to be asking the agent representing the seller, because I believe it's important for you as a real estate buyer, if in fact you're looking at a property that was in escrow and now it's not, to find out what that reason would be. In most cases, people think that it has to do with something that was discovered in the house. And that's great. That's typical. That's very normal for people to assume. However, being in the business since 98, 26 plus years, I know for a fact it's not always that way. In fact, it's rarely that way. In a lot of cases, it's an issue with the buyer's qualification. They didn't fulfill everything they needed, or they're working with a lender that does not deserve to be in the lending world because they failed to give that buyer or vet them properly, and then it was found out later. Now, not putting all the blame on the lenders, sometimes, and I've experienced this, as I believe most other agents, sometimes we feel we're more valuable than we really are. Maybe we believe that we can qualify for something because we had a friend qualify for something, but what we didn't realize is that friend might be getting a gift from a relative of some obscene amount of money. That's why they're able to qualify with the same job and working next to you in the same cubicle or in the same police car, on that same motor, or in the helicopter, on the mounted horse, whatever it may be. You can kind of see where I'm pulling from my history. But whatever the situation is, it could be very different than yours. So then you go to a lender, the lender qualifies you. You're like, it's a lot different than what my friend was qualified for. The one that I work with, the one that's at my same job, the one that's married to a woman like the woman I'm married to that earns the same income. But you don't understand the unknown, which was that large, obscene amount of money that was given to them as a gift to inject into real estate. And that does definitely change qualification amounts, because of course you have that additional cash, which you don't, then that creates the issue. Understanding though that back on market properties, it's not always a problem with the house, but if it is, it's important that your agent find that out, so when you go in, you can have access to whatever documents they happen to have already generated. For example, when a real estate buyer is buying a house, at some point we're together, and at some point I have them get a home inspector to respond and look over the residence and then inform us of the things that, of course, they see, we see, but also tell me the stuff that we don't see. The invisible stuff, the stuff that we don't see, at least with our eye, because definitely a home inspector's eye is going to be much better trained, more knowledgeable, have that expertise, and they're able to convey that, if they're good, to the buyers and also the buyer's agent, because it's very important when you're purchasing a house, you understand all of the things, especially with the home inspection, because once it's revealed, then your choices begin at that point. Once you find out a house has some problem or some issue or something that is outside the norm, or maybe with regard to residences in the neighborhood, it just happens to stand out. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Your knowledge and being made aware of that is very important. And in fact, it's going to be what you're going to be basing whether you're going to proceed with the escrow. If a buyer on a residence is canceled for that reason, but already got a home inspection report and a termite report or whatever it may be, I'm privy to those documents. I want that agent to give those over to me so I can show my buyer. Barring having a buyer, really those documents are going to be in the seller's possession. They're probably going to know. Hopefully, if there are issues with the residence, they're going to look and try to make it right, try to fix things, have a handyman or a repair person, whatever it may be, come to the residence and put it together. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Active under contract properties 36 have gone into escrow. We have 49 that are in a pending status, which basically means they're not showing up online any longer. 103 properties actually closed this last 7 days. 7 expired, 5 canceled, 5 put on hold, 2 have withdrawn. Now, we have seen a lot of activity in different areas here in Santa Clarita Valley. We can see that in such neighborhoods as Valencia and Stevenson Ranch, Saugus, Canyon Country, Newhall, Castaic, various changes all across the board with each of these communities. I'm going to dive into some specifics here. So Valencia has a very high demand, quick turnaround times. Properties aren't lasting very long at all. Moving into Stevenson Ranch, we also see notable price adjustments, but more than their fair share of back on market properties over this past 7 days. It's nothing to become excited about. It's just the way that the odds are playing. It's not that something's occurred in Stevenson Ranch that has made those residences not as appealing or more people want to cancel those escrows. It just happens to be that's the luck of the draw for Stevenson Ranch. Kind of the same when we're looking at inventory and we're looking at those numbers. We are up in the 420s now. You track back 3 or 4 weeks and watch one of the shows I did, because I do these daily. We were pumping about 360, 370. So we've got up quite a bit, and that is indicative of the market. It's not that anything really happened. Time of year. We have schools let out. Right when the schools let out that next week, it was like listings went to a frenzy. We climbed 40 or 50 units active for sale within just a few days. So there was a lot of activity, and we're watching that translate into buyers out there having more competition, and sellers actually might have a little bit more competition, but when they're priced right, they're not noticing because they still have plenty of buyers looking, and those buyers, because they're so active in the market, they're writing offers on residences. And right now, because there is still high competition between buyers, some buyers are frustrated to a point that they start going above and beyond what the asking price is. Now, if that's appropriate for the market, great. But the only way you're going to know if that's appropriate is by looking at the actual numbered variables. So what I did is on SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com, I did make sure to include all the sold data historically. So you'll be able to see everything in that system since they started recording, and you can actually pull it together or put it together via different neighborhood searches or even streets, and of course the city searches as well. But you'll be able to see those sold listings, and that helps you determine what the best course of action is going to be when it comes time to make an offer. All right, so what we did is, if you look at some of the other information that I put up on SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com, you will see some of the price per square foot models. And with regard to that, price per square foot is really an underused item factor when people are looking for real estate. But when you are looking at price per square foot, you have to understand that if you're looking at option A and another option A, they're both identical, but one's priced more. You have to figure out what that pricing more is. Is it just the seller thinking their property's worth more? Or is it the seller with actually something tangible that a buyer would pay extra for? Is their house maybe a corner lot? Some people love them, some people hate them, but a lot of people love them because you get more real estate. But that also depends if the real estate that you're getting is going to require more maintenance, not giving you much benefit. But if the corner lot gives you better views, better access, maybe you don't have a lot of neighbors, you feel like you're smothered, maybe having a corner lot is helpful, and people would pay a premium over and above the other option A that has been compared to your property when people might be making offers. Being able to establish that in written form so people understand it is very critical in the real estate marketing and advertising, the same as it's important for an agent that gets a listing that happens to have an actual office downstairs with a full bathroom close to it, pointing that out that that was a builder option. There are still 4 real bedrooms upstairs with the additional bathrooms, but this space was purchased at the time of build out by that new owner that wanted that residence, but they wanted that full office downstairs with a full bath next to it instead of the half bath and maybe just a garage space being in that particular room. And that's how it was configured upon purchase, but they went ahead and added that upgrade and said, we want a full committed office. Could it be used as a bedroom? Absolutely. Is there a closet in there? No, there's not. That's kind of the differentiation point. But if you've been looking at real estate any amount of time as a buyer and maybe a seller, maybe you've had agents tell you, well, that's very normal, it's okay. Well, it really is kind of misleading to some, especially when you get into residence and you see a room that doesn't have a closet that is definitely an office, but they're counting it as a bedroom. At least let's be transparent and say, this is what it is. The title shows this many, there's no closet, thereby it's not a bedroom. Let your conscience be your guide. That's such a big deal in real estate, but it's something definitely to consider. I am Connor with Honor. I hope this update did help you. Thank you so much for watching. Be well, and we will talk to you soon. I'm Connor McIver, Connor with Honor, over and out. I'm now looking for the found it.